while ago, I made a top 20 list of Nintendo villains, but now it's time for the heroes to shine. Hey pups, Arby here. A little while back, I made a list of my top picks for Nintendo villains, but now it's time for the heroes to have the spotlight. Heroes play an extremely important role in each and every story. Just like villains, every story has to have a hero, especially in video games. Nintendo is practically the Disney of video games, so I'm making lists of my top 20 picks for the heroes of Nintendo. And yes, I will exclude Pokemon for this one, because I'm me. Alrighty, let's do this. Mario, the Mr. Game Man himself, everyone's favorite heroic princess-saving plumber, the gaming icon, not just for Nintendo, but for games everywhere. From the very first arcade game that made Nintendo what it is today, to Odyssey, Mario is the ultimate Nintendo hero, and the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to Nintendo heroes. Whether he's saving Princess Peach, racing, or fighting a character in Smash Bros., Mario is the heroic icon of the franchise, along with his brother Luigi. Speaking of which... Luigi, Mario's brother and the scaredy cat out of the duo. He's had a shared spotlight alongside his brother in various games like Smash Bros. And Bowser's Inside Story, for example, but this is mostly due to a spin-off game, Luigi's Mansion. It kinda reminds me of a mix of Ghostbusters and Scooby-Doo, but Luigi doesn't have a silly dog sidekick in the game, sadly. Armed with a ghost vacuum, the cowardly Luigi proves himself to be just as courageous and bold and heroic as his brother. Mario would be proud. Yoshi, another character from the Mario series with various games of his own. Yoshi fights alongside Mario and assists him, whether it's letting him ride on him, like a horse, or going solo in one of his own games. This little cutie pie is both helpful, cute, and just as heroic as Mario and Luigi are. Plus, he looks like a baby Godzilla! And the cute little noises he makes you want to have a pet Yoshi of your own. Speaking of cute heroes... Kirby. Hard to believe this little pink ball of cuteness is a hero as well, right? Don't be fooled by the adorableness of this little guy. Kirby is just as heroic as the previous entries. From his bottomless stomach, to his ability to copy attacks, thanks to the help of said bottomless stomach, he's powerful and cute. Almost like Jigglypuff from Pokemon. Plus, look at this little guy. He's so cute! Marth. Okay, before I get started with this one, I don't know too much about Fire Emblem, so anyone in the comments that are Fire Emblem experts or hardcore fans of the game, please correct me if I got anything wrong about this character. When people think of Fire Emblem, two characters come to mind, Marth and Ike. We're starting off with Marth first. Having to take his father's place as leader of an army after his death, he's kind of like Link, Goku, and Simba fused into one video game character. Goku because Marth is constantly training, and Simba because he and Simba both lost their dads, and had to take their place as leaders. Again, don't know too much about Fire Emblem, but I only recognized him from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And again, if there are any Fire Emblem experts or hardcore Fire Emblem fans, please correct me if I get anything wrong about Marth. Ike. Moving on to another character, son of a powerful warrior and commander, Rielu. Ike is kind of like Marth, only I don't think his dad passed away. Though again, I don't know too much about Fire Emblem games, but if anyone has more info on him, and like I keep saying over and over again, is a hardcore Fire Emblem expert and fan of the game, share more info on Ike in the comments. Got too lazy to do my research on him, and only know him and Marth from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. But he's a cool character either way, though he was more of a ranger from Path of Resistance, and took on the hero role in Radiant Dawn. Again, if anyone is a hardcore / FE expert, share more in the comments please. I'm too lazy. Pit. Well, this guy has had less attention and only had at least 1 or 2 games and had more attention in Smash Bros. Pit is still about as heroic as the previous entries on here. He has to stop Medusa from ruling in the first game and in the second game. And he not only has to defeat Medusa, but also Hades as well. Granted, he had more recognition from Smash, he's still a recognizable character regardless. Though the 3DS Kid Icarus game is probably the only no modern title. His other games for either the NES, SNES, or Game Boy is actually just as good too. Ice Climbers. Once again, 2 more heroes, more recognized from Smash. Ice Climbers started out with their own arcade game, like Mario, and later had their own NES game developed. Sadly, they haven't seen much since the late 1980s and early 1990s, and were almost thought to be non-existent. But they finally got a little bit of spotlight in the Smash games. Though they don't have their own modern-made Nintendo game yet, they have a heroic role in their arcade games, and a bit of a small cult following. Maybe someday they'll see the light of day for their own game instead of the arcade one, being downloaded or added to the classic NES games. Conker. Okay, I know, super weird to put him as a hero character, and technically he had at least 2 Nintendo games of his own. He first starts out as a super cute and good kid saving his girlfriend Barry and his presents from an evil acorn in Pocket Tales, and almost had an N64 game called 12 Tales, but was later turned into the now fan favorite Bad Fur Day, where he's a greedy drunk and has to stop the Panther King from being turned into a leg for his table. Whether he's an innocent kid from Pocket Tales, or Diddy Kong Racing, or a grown man, drunk, greedy, and a bit lustful, and a part of a more raunchy Nintendo classic, no doubt Conker will not be forgotten, though I kinda wish he made a comeback. Nintendo would repurchase rarer games, make a Switch version of Pocket and 12 Tales, and even the Bad Fur Day game with a sequel to boot. Oh well, a gamer girl can dream, can't she? Banjo-Kazooie. A heroic yet dim-witted bear alongside a sassy bird with a ton of roasts, but it's a bit more helpful and less annoying than Navi. You've got a good fan-favorite combo. They got their start on the N64 games, Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, to stop Gruntilda from her wickedness, and save Banjo's sister Tootie, and had a GBA game, Gruntilda's Revenge, and a badly made Xbox 360 game, Nuts and Bolts, and had a plethora of spin-offs as well. And even got a slot for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2019. Looks like Nintendo didn't forget some of its most popular WarioWare characters after all. Speaking of which... Donkey Kong. We can't forget about the first bad guy turned hero for the Mario arcade game. DK is the second or third most popular hero character, alongside his former plumber foe, and everyone's favorite Hyrulean warrior. Granted, he mostly fights the Kremlins and King K. Rool for a stash of bananas and the occasional crystal coconut, and to fend off his island from them as well. Though, needless to say, he isn't the brightest bulb in the lamp. but when he lacks in smarts, he makes up for on brute strength. Have you seen this guy fight a herd of Kremlins before? He's like Super Saiyan, and doesn't even try going Super Saiyan. That's how epically strong DK is. But it's a Kong-like donkey without a sidekick and little buddy. Diddy Kong. Believe it or not, he's not just Donkey Kong's sidekick and little buddy, but he's also his nephew, or so the fanwiki said. Take that with a grain of salt if you will. Whether it's helping DK stop King Kroll and the Kremlins, helping out his girlfriend Dixie on her quests, racing in Diddy Kong Racing, being a fighter in Smash, there's no doubt that Diddy is a Luigi to Donkey's Mario. He may be small, but he's just as heroic as his uncle DK. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Lucas. The Earthbound series is probably one of the darkest and weirdest games Nintendo ever created, if you don't count games like Metroid and Legend of Zelda. Lucas is also a Luigi to Ness's Mario, but we'll get to Ness later. Lucas is a timid young boy who supposedly lost his mother and twin brother, Claus, during an attack at Tasmilly Village to visit his father, and Lucas was the only survivor, now living with his father, Flint, and dog Boney. He now has to embark on an adventure with Ness to stop the Pig Mask Army and save Tasmilly Village, New Pork City, and the whole world as a whole. Even though he's timid like Luigi, he's got a lot of courage in his heart and is willing to avenge his family's death at all costs. Again, if I got anything wrong involving Earthbound, let me know. Ness. Told you we'd get to him. Ness is Mario to Lucas's Luigi, as said earlier, but vice versa. In the Earthbound game, the baseball-loving Ness finds a strange asteroid, and it turns out to be the alien, Gygus, who in the first game in Japan looked like Mewtwo, returns to Mother 2, the Japanese version, to destroy everything, and with the assistance of rich kid Porky Minch to help him. It's up to Ness to stop the evil, and like with Mario vs. Bowser, this kid has a ton of courage and moxie in him to fight off an evil alien character that first looks like a screaming face and later a silhouette of a fetus. But that's already been talked about to death in the Nintendo community at this point. Moving on. Isabelle. Okay, again, weird choice, but hear me out. While Tom Nook is a bit of a villain and had more time on Animal Crossing, he's still a gritty old raccoon with a Mr. Krabs complex. Isabelle got her debut on New Leaf, and it was an instant fan favorite. From her helpfulness to her design, and is even a newly added fighter on Smash. Plus, she seems a lot more kind-hearted, helpful, and sweet than Tom. She also serves as a mayor's assistant, kind of like the Miss Bellum of the Animal Crossing universe. Hence why I added her as a Nintendo hero on here. Fox McCloud. Another hero taking his father's place, Fox, much like Marth, lost his father and now has to take his place in the Star Fox Space Army, alongside Falco, the very annoying Slippy, and many more to beat and defeat the rival Starwolf and the evil Andross. I don't have too much to say about Fox, but since I'm a furry, he's adorable and tough. And he's an excellent fighter in Smash, alongside Falco. He's like the Star Wars version of Disney's Robin Hood. Wait a minute. Samus. The Metroid series is both terrifying and rather interesting, to be honest. And to me, at least, it was pretty rare to see female heroes in any forms of media. But with movies like Mulan, the Powerpuff Girls, and the Fiona and Cake episodes of Adventure Time, this actually came as a surprise to me when I found out Samus was a girl. Let me explain. I actually found this out while playing the Subspace storyline in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I thought Zero Suit Samus was someone else, and then when she got her suit on, It was a major shock and pleasant surprise to me. Having lost her parents at a young age to Ridley, the literal embodiment of Frieza in space dino dragon form, Seamus now has to stop space pirates and many other threats from destroying space. Even though she doesn't get any peace because Ridley keeps coming back like a freaking parasite, it's always so satisfying to kill him over and over and over and over. Okay, next one. Midna. Again, like Isabel, weird choice, but hear me out. Midna is like the less annoying and more helpful version of Navi. I said this in my Twilight Princess review, but let's do a recap, shall we? She can attack opponents with her hair, assist Wolf Link in more ways than one, and is often seen riding him like how Link rides Epona. And she's a ruler / princess of the Twilight Kingdom, like how Zelda's the princess of Hyrule, and she and Link team up to defeat Zant and Ganondorf. Speaking of which... Zelda. While Princess Peach is a heroine in her own right, she's more often than not always a damsel in distress. While I feel like Zelda is occasionally the damsel in distress, she also has a chic form and is a bit more helpful than Navi in most Zelda games. She also helps Link defeat Ganon in Ocarina of Time by holding him down with her Hyrulean magical powers via her possession of the Triforce of Wisdom. And she's also a playable fighter in Smash. A princess and a total badass. Hells yeah! And finally, we have the ultimate Nintendo hero of all Nintendo heroes. Link. While Mario's the mascot and the first hero that comes to mind when it comes to Nintendo heroes and games, I feel like Link earns the #1 spot. While he's the second character that comes to mind, he earned the #1 spot for a reason. He's constantly saving Hyrule from Ganon, defeating various other villains aside from Ganon like Zant from Twilight Princess, has a wolf form from Twilight Princess that's adorable, and he's practically the hero of heroes when it comes to Nintendo games. Again, Mario's the first thing that comes to mind, but Link has it all. Courage and Triforce earned of such, a princess of the damsel in distress and a badass from time to time, and is Hyrule's one and only hero they need, want, and deserve. That's why he's #1. At least in my book. Woo! That's another list done. If you have a favorite Nintendo hero, or have a Nintendo hero in mind that you wanted to see on this list, be sure to share in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one, pups. Cue the outro, RP is out, peace!